Mike Pence in his first Sunday show interview since becoming Donald Trump's running mate, only on Fox News Sunday. On his role in the campaign. Are you the cleanup crew? Top Republicans declaring never Trump. They say we can't trust Donald Trump to be commander-in-chief. And Trump's claim President Obama and Hillary Clinton founded ISIS. Now Trump says that he was being sarcastic. So, Governor, which is it? Governor Mike Pence, one-on-one. It's a Fox News Sunday exclusive. Then, new questions about the relationship between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department. We'll talk with Senator Claire McCaskill, a top Clinton supporter, about the possibility of an FBI investigation. Plus, the candidates clash over the economy.
He wants America to work for him and his friends at the expense of everyone else.
Every policy she has tilts the playing field towards other countries at our expense.
We'll ask our Sunday panel what their plans will do for your pocketbook. All right now on Fox News Sunday. And hello again from Fox News in Washington. Well, it's been quite a week for both presidential candidates. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton laid out their programs to get the economy growing faster, and both had to deal with new controversies. Trump from more self-inflicted wounds, Clinton from still more emails that showed a cozy relationship between the Clinton Foundation and her State Department. On Friday, we traveled to the governor's residence in Indianapolis, home of the Republican vice presidential nominee, Mike Pence. In his first Sunday show interview since the conventions, we talked about the challenges facing both campaigns. Governor Pence, welcome back to Fox News Sunday, and thank you for inviting us here to the governor's residence.
Thanks, Chris. Welcome back to Indiana.
Do you believe that Hillary Clinton was involved in a pay-to-play arrangement as Secretary of State with big donors to the Clinton Foundation?
Well, it looks that way more and more every day, doesn't it? The new emails that have been made public just in the last week seem to make a direct connection between favors done by State Department officials and major foreign donors to the Clinton Foundation. But the American people have a right to know. I think people of this country are tired of the pay-to-play politics in Washington, D.C., and I promise you that when Donald Trump and I arrive at the White House, we're going to bring all of that to an end.
Do you have any evidence that she actually took actions as a result of these big donations? And when you say the American people have a right to know, do you think there should be an investigation, a federal investigation?
Well, certainly the officials at the FBI, we've also found out this week, believe that there should be an investigation, and Obama's Department of Justice apparently has shut that down. But look, these are very serious allegations. Now we have evidence in writing in this email chain of connections between foreign donors to the Clinton Foundation and officials at the State Department.
But did she take any action in response to that?
Well, I think that's what we need to find out. Oh, we really do. The public has a right to know, because this really and truly, this is exactly the kind of pay-to-play politics the American people are sick and tired of. But frankly, it is just one more example of the way I do believe that the Clintons have been operating over the last 30 years. And it's one of the reasons why the American people have a fixed opinion about Hillary Clinton and her trustworthiness, and why we so much need to elect Donald Trump as the next president of the United States.
Now, Donald Trump has opened a new line of attack against Hillary Clinton, saying that she and Obama were the most valuable players for ISIS.
ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS, okay? He's the founder. He founded ISIS. And I would say the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton.
You and he spent a day defending his remarks, saying that they were serious. Now Trump says that he was being sarcastic. So, Governor, which is it?
Well, I think he was being very serious, and he was making a point that needs to be made, that there is no question that the failed policies of President Barack Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in the wider Middle East created a vacuum within Iraq in which ISIS was able to arise. There's simply no question.
But then why is he saying he was sarcastic?
Well, he was making a very serious point. And look, it's so important to remember.
Why did he say he was being sarcastic?
Yeah, well, he was making a very serious point. Donald Trump has a way of talking that gets people's attention, and it's drawn attention to a very important issue. There was a time when a Democrat president knew where the buck stopped in the White House, and the responsibility for the failed policies in the Middle East that created the environment where ISIS developed belongs to President Barack Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and the American people know that.
Governor, those are all perfectly legitimate points to make, but that isn't what Trump said. He said that Obama and Clinton were the most valuable players of ISIS, that they were the co-founders of ISIS. Then he said, well, I was just being sarcastic about that, just as he said he was just being sarcastic about inviting Russia to come in and release emails of Hillary Clinton's. Isn't the sarcastic excuse getting a bit old?
Well, no, I don't think it's getting old at all, Chris. Donald Trump made his way through a very competitive primary because he spoke not like your typical politician, but just plainly like an everyday American. And speaking plainly is exactly what the American people will anticipate in the course of this election. But more importantly, they're going to have a president who tells them exactly what's on his mind, and the American people are going to hear him, and hear him loud and clear.
Trump is making what your campaign calls a major speech on Monday about radical Islamic terrorism. Up to this point, he has not offered really any details as to how he would beat ISIS. So what is his plan? Well,
get ready. Monday in Ohio, and I'll be with him on that day. He'll do exactly what he did this last Monday on his economic plan. He's going to lay out his vision and his strategy for defeating radical Islamic terrorism.
Specifics?
I think you're going to be ready, Chris, for a vision, but also for real specifics about how new leadership in the White House, a change of direction in the White House, and the kind of broad-shouldered leadership that Donald Trump will bring is going to make our country more safe.
But this week, 50 former top national security officials, all of them Republican, said that they could not vote for Donald Trump. So did a respected, moderate Republican Senator Susan Collins. And what they said was that he's too reckless to be president.
We all felt strongly enough about what we believed to be a clear and present danger that we felt compelled to say what we said.
We're talking here, sir, about a senior senator, former head of the CIA, two former secretaries of Homeland Security. They say we can't trust Donald Trump to be commander-in-chief.
Well, you know, I'm old enough to remember a president that you covered a few years back who, when he was running for president in 1979 and 80, they were saying about the same thing.
But there was never that kind of mass defection from Republican
I think there was
officials.
just as much criticism of Ronald Reagan's broad-shouldered approach to foreign policy. And so I understand when a lot of people in the establishment that have been part of the very policies that have put the world stage in the condition that it is today have anxiety about the clear-eyed leadership that he's going to bring.
Both Trump and Clinton offered their economic plans this week, and there were some big differences, especially on taxes. Trump cuts taxes on the rich. Clinton raises them. Trump wants to repeal the estate tax, which already exempts the first $5 million for an individual. Clinton raises the estate tax. And Trump wants a new tax deduction to cover child care expenses. Clinton says expanding the child care tax credit helps lower-income families more. Question, Governor, why shouldn't middle-class families look at those two plans and say that at least on taxes, Clinton offers them a better deal?
Oh, I think not only middle-class Americans like my wife and I, but every American knows that the pathway to prosperity in this country is not going to be found in raising taxes. Hillary Clinton's planning over $1 trillion in tax increases, and
but
$1 trillion
almost all on the rich.
That 47-minute speech she did, I was told there was over $1 trillion in new spending. And what Donald Trump laid out was, in a very real sense, what's worked here in Indiana, what's worked in Republican-led states around the country, and that is you let people keep more of what they earn. You unleash the power of this economy by rolling back regulation and red tape, repealing Obamacare. You end the war on coal and develop all the energy resources of our land. And then you have tougher and smarter trade deals. And that'll get this economy moving again. Hillary Clinton's plan is just more of the same old failed policies that have led us to a place where, Chris, we're in the middle of the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression.
Trump would also cut all business income to 15%, and Clinton says the result of that is that Trump would give himself a big tax cut. She even has a name for it.
Let's call it the Trump loophole. because it would allow him to pay less than half the current tax rate on income from many of his companies. He'd pay a lower rate than millions of middle-class families.
The Trump loophole?
The United States has one of the highest corporate tax rates in the Western world, Chris, and it's driving jobs out of this country. And Donald Trump is committed not only to cutting taxes across the board for every American, but also lowering the corporate tax rate so that businesses large and small can be competitive.
But, Governor, what we're talking about here is something called pass-through business income, and analysts say 2/3 of that income goes to the top 1%. So if he's cutting the income tax rate for this kind of business income, 2/3 of it is going to the top 1%. They're making out, not the middle class.
I don't think the American people spend the time that people on the left and Hillary Clinton and her supporters spend, you know, picking winners and losers in the economy. The American people know that if we have the right policies, everybody wins. And we're living in a time where now for more than a decade, real personal income has been stagnant. And so, you know, I know that Hillary Clinton and her team said that the expectations that Donald Trump articulated were wildly unrealistic. Well, what I think is wildly unrealistic is electing the same people with the same ideas and expecting a different result.
Let's do a lightning round. Quick questions, quick answers. You had an interesting exchange with a young man on the campaign trail recently.
I've been noticing that you've been kind of softening up on Mr. Trump's policies and words. Is this your role is this going to be your role in the administration?
Sometimes things don't always come out like you mean, right?
Are you the cleanup crew?
I couldn't be more honored to be campaigning shoulder to shoulder with a man who I believe is going to be the next president of the United States.
But you do have to clean up. You do have to explain some of the things he says.
Look, we have different styles, but as I told that little boy, we have exactly the same convictions. We both believe we can make America great again if we'll return to those time-honored principles of standing tall on the world stage, rebuilding our military, unleashing the full potential of the American economy, and letting the American people stand tall again.
Trump has banned reporters who he thinks are unfair from attending his campaign events. You said you were going to talk to him about that. Have you gotten him to lift the blacklist?
I don't think Donald Trump is having any problem getting press at this point.
No,
he gets an awful lot of
attention. It's a serious question,
is
banning people, and I know you have a strong feeling about a free press. Have you gotten him to change his mind?
We'll keep our private conversations private, but that's an ongoing discussion in the campaign, and I do believe in the public's right to know, whether it's about these latest allegations about Hillary Clinton or otherwise, and we'll continue to advance that principle.
You have been running for office, winning office, serving the country for about a quarter of a century now. When you hear Donald Trump go after a Gold Star family, when you hear him refusing to endorse someone like Paul Ryan, when you hear him suggest that he might not defend our NATO allies, as a serious man, do you ever shake your head?
I really couldn't be more honored to be standing shoulder to shoulder with Donald Trump. Look, he's not someone that spent a lifetime in politics. He speaks his heart and he speaks his mind, and I truly do believe that this good man is going to be a great president of the United States.
People are increasingly concerned about his temperament because of the statements he makes in public. What would you say to people who have those doubts? May think, gee, I'm not crazy about Hillary Clinton, but I'm scared of Donald Trump.
I would say stay tuned. It's very early in this campaign. This coming Monday, you're going to see a vision for confronting radical Islamic terrorism. Last week, you heard a bristling approach to having a growing economy.
So you're saying don't give up on him?
I'm saying stay tuned. It's still early in this campaign, and I'm just very confident.
Let's talk about you and your record. You signed a religious freedom law last year that, under heavy fire, you agreed to soften. So let me ask you personally, do you believe that a business owner, person who owns a bakery, photography shop, whatever, should have the right to refuse to serve a gay if he feels that it violates his religious convictions.
Chris, if I was in a restaurant and I saw someone denied service because they were gay, my family wouldn't eat there again. I don't believe in discrimination, and I don't support discrimination against anyone. But when there is a conflict of rights here in our society, those are the proper purview of the courts. And I do believe that the efforts we made in Indiana contributed to being able to resolve those things, as Americans have done through generations.
Finally, you signed an abortion bill this year that bans a woman from getting an abortion because her fetus has genetic abnormalities. Now, I know that you would like to see Roe versus Wade reversed, but given the fact that it's still the law of the land, why does a state have the authority to limit the reasons a woman has to end her pregnancy?
Well, I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. I'd like to see Roe versus Wade overturned and consigned to the ash heap of history. We took a stand in the state of Indiana that frankly many countries have taken, that abortions for the reason of race or sex are morally offensive, and we stand by that. But we also cherish those who have disabilities in the state of Indiana, and taking a step in the direction of protecting the unborn who are facing physical challenges and disabilities, I think was the right thing to do.
And you still believe that it would be that a woman should not be allowed to have an abortion?
Well, it's before the courts right now, and the courts will resolve that matter.
But you still believe that?
I believe in the sanctity of life, and I stand for that principle, and I'm grateful to be standing with Donald Trump in his strong commitment to the right to life.
Governor, thank you.
Thank you,
Safe travels on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
Please come back, sir.
Great to be with you.
Up next, Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill, one of Hillary Clinton's earliest supporters, responds to Governor Pence and to new questions about links between the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton's State Department.